to Bonita's Kitchen. What I'm going to be doing for you today is cinnamon blueberry sticky buns. They're also called sticky rolls. What I'll start with is go over a few of the ingredients, and it's quite a bit of ingredients because you're making a dough texture for this. Of course, the flour, we got our blueberries, vanilla, butter, yeast, eggs, icing sugar, brown sugar, regular sugar, and a little pinch of salt. So I'll start by making the dough, and after we get going on this, I'll post my recipe on my Facebook page. So it's 3 cups of flour, but I'm going to start with 2 cups first of flour and 1/4 cup of sugar. And this is white sugar we're adding there, or if you don't use white sugar, you could use organic sugar. I'm going to do a pinch of salt. We're going to put in 3 tablespoonfuls of melted butter, 1 tablespoonful of yeast that's been already started to set, but you could put instant yeast if you didn't want to mix it that way. 1 1/4 cup of warm milk, and 2 beaten eggs. So I'm just gonna open this. I'm just gonna slightly beat them first. And you can pour this in to your mixture. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. We're going to start to incorporate all of the mixture together. I'm going to put 2 tablespoonfuls of vanilla, and this is in with your mixture that you all got there as well. And use a wooden spoon. You could use a blender or a food processor if you want to, but I prefer to do it all by hand. And this is what it looked like. You want to keep mixing this until all the lumps in your flour is out, and then we'll start mixing in the extra cup, because it was 3 cups of flour and I just started with 2. Okay, now we got that mixed nice. I'm going to reach for 1 more cup of flour and slowly incorporate this into the dough. And remember, when you're working with dough, you want to make sure that the complete result is the dough is away from the sides, so you know it's formed a ball and it's a little sticky, but not too sticky. It's almost like a bread texture, but with this one we got egg and vanilla because we're making a cinnamon roll or a cinnamon bun, so it gives it that flavor as well. Keep mixing it around. You want to keep trying to get it away from the sides so it's all forming a dough. And it's a real nice texture. Like you said, you keep working it. One end on your bowl and the other one on your fork or your wooden spoon, whichever you got in your place. So continue sprinkling your flour to form this dough until it's all incorporated together. And then what we're going to do, when we complete this portion of it, we're going to cover it, put it in a warm place, maybe by a sunny window, and let it rise for about an hour before we go to the next step. Okay, if you find after you've used up the 3 cups of flour and it's still a little sticky, you can always go back for a little bit of flour just to help bind it all together. I'm going to take the remaining of my dough off the fork because I want to work it together now with my hands, the same way you would do for your homemade bread. And what this is, like you said, is a smaller portion of your regular dough for bread. Okay, so I'm going to pour that little bit of flour over there and continue working it through. See that it's all off the sides. just going to knee it down now as much as possible, folding it towards you, rolling your bowl so it is easier for you to put it all together. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to flip it over, and this is your complete dough. Now that we got our dough made, I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to cover it for about an hour, let it rise, and then I'm going to start making my filling and my glazes for the top of our cinnamon blueberry sticky buns, and then we'll get going on that. Okay, now we got our dough made. I'm going to start with our filling for our cinnamon blueberry sticky buns. Okay, so we're going to go with a cup of brown sugar. You can use the dark brown sugar, or you can go to light brown sugar. It's whatever kind you prefer to use. I'm going to pour that into the bowl. I'm going to go with 2 tablespoonfuls of ground cinnamon. And it's an even tablespoon. I always like a little bit more. We're going to go with at least ½ cup of soft butter. Let me just put this down with the mixture. And this recipe calls for 2½ cups of blueberries. I'm using frozen blueberries. They were picked last season, and I'm only going to put about 1.5 cups in mine, but you could use 2½ cups or more, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to mix this together to start making this filling. And this filling don't have to be runny. It just got so that you can spread over your dough when it's completed and we got it rolled out onto our counter. So they'll all sort of come together. This is your brown sugar, your cinnamon, and your soft butter. Now I'm going to pour in 1.5 cups of frozen blueberries into my mixture. And again, you could use as much blueberries you want. I'm just going to use these many for mine, and just fold it together. You don't need to mix it until it's all mushy. Now I'm going to set this to the side. I don't want to over mix it until I'm ready to use it for my filling. And now what I'll do is show you how to make the glaze that will go over the top. Now we're going to prepare our pan, and we're going to make our sticky glaze that goes in the bottom of our pan before we put our buns into it. So I'm going to pre-grease our pan, and this is a 9 by 13 inch pan, so pre-grease it all the ways around with a little bit of butter. Then I'm going to put ½ cup of melted butter, and then 1 cup of brown sugar together, and then I'm going to mix this together. As you can see, it just makes like a sticky glaze. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to evenly pour this in the bottom of our pan. This is almost like a caramel sauce, but it's just your brown sugar and butter. And this is what your buns are going to go down on, or you can call it your rolls, is your cinnamon blueberry sticky rolls. I'm just going to evenly put this over, and I'm going to set this to the side until we're ready to start our buns. Okay, so now we got our filling for the inside of our sticky buns, and we got our pan prepared to get them all formed into. So we're at a standstill here now. We're going to just keep this to the side until our dough is ready to roll out and prepare. Meet you back here in a few. Okay, now I'm going to check my dough. It looks like it's risen enough that I could knee it down. So what I'm going to do is just roll it in towards me again, and I'm going to set it aside for about 5 to 10 minutes, And then I'm going to put it out onto this countertop, and we're going to roll it out and start preparing our cinnamon blueberry sticky rolls. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it over again, and let's do that. Okay, I've sprinkled about a 1/4 cup of flour onto my countertop here because I wanted to have it for rolling our dough. This is our dough. It's amazing. It's so nice. For the texture is nice. It's got a cracking sound. I'm going to roll it with my rolling pin, but I'm not guaranteed that it's going to be perfect, but just enough that we ought to roll it in a rectangle or circle, whichever now it's shaped, because once you start rolling it together, it doesn't matter how it's out on your board. Have it about 1 inch or so thick, and then that'll be nice then for rolling together. Okay, now that we got our dough rolled out, we're going to start mixing in our filling. I'm just going to roll it around a little bit more because the blueberries is after thawing a little and settling. So, like I said, you could use fresh blueberries. You don't necessarily have to use frozen. I just used frozen because that was local blueberries that I wanted to keep to use for this episode. Okay, I'm going to take the remainder of this filling off of that wooden spoon. Now I'm going to spread it with my spatula. And so spread it evenly over. You want it equal portions of your brown sugar, cinnamon, blueberries all over. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to roll it together. Okay, so now I'm going to start rolling. So you're going to pick up from the outer end and start rolling it, but rolling it away from you. Like I said, it's going to be messy, but that's okay. So that way you get all of the filling in there. Keep rolling it till it's all together, and then you're going to pinch the end of your dough so that it don't squeeze out. Okay, now I'm going to start cutting this and in equal portions. So I'm going to take that tip portion off, and I'm hoping to make at least 12, but like you said, it's difficult to know how much it's going to make. It all depends on the size of your roll. So each one you take off, you put in the pan, and that's okay if some of the filling pours out because it is soft, but it's going to rise, and this is what it's called, sticky buns, so it's supposed to be sticky. So equally put all of them together like this into the pan. Okay, so I'm going to cut one more from this and put it over to the side. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so this is our sticky buns. I'm going to let it rise for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to put it in the oven. Okay, so now I'm going to unwrap it. It's all ready to go, so it's rose up to where it should be. It'll rise again in the oven. Now I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 10-15 minutes until golden brown. If you need a little more, sometimes your oven is a little different, that's fine. Okay, so let's put it in the oven. Okay, so now that we got it in the oven, it's in there on 350, and I said for 10-15 minutes. You could probably leave it maybe even for 30 minutes, but again, depending on your oven. So we'll see you back here in a few minutes. Okay, so now our cinnamon blueberry sticky rolls are done. What I'm going to do now is make a glaze for the top. So it's going to be 2 teaspoonfuls of milk. And we're going to do a 1/2 cup of your icing sugar. And we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla. So we're just going to mix this together. So the buns were in the oven for 30 minutes until golden brown, and then after, take them out and just let them sit for just a little while, but I like serving them while they're warm. Okay, I think that's ready. So we're just gonna pour a little bit of it over. You can always keep a little bit kept to the side to actually put over your sticky bun after you take it out of the container. Okay, so now I'm going to just take one out for you to see it. This is the bottom, and the top, I'm just going to take a little bit of that juice and put over it. And another little bit of the glaze. So this is your cinnamon blueberry sticky roll. You can also call it sticky buns. It's not quick and it's very easy to make. It's not a quick meal to make, but you can prepare it the night before if you want to. You can freeze your dough after preparing it like this, or you can keep it in the fridge and take it out in the morning. So again, please try this recipe for cinnamon blueberry sticky rolls, and join me once again for Bonita's Kitchen. I hope this was helpful and you have a wonderful day.